Budget LS Factory 5 Roadster build update coming right up. Well, I'm having a problem with the rear brakes. I bled the brakes and they're locked up. The axle will not turn. Even when I release pressure via the bleed valve, the axle still will not rotate. So something's bound up. It's like the parking brake is on, but the parking brake nor the cables are even installed, so I know it's not that. One suggestion was to make sure that there's no residual pressure on the master cylinder. In other words, when you release the brake pedal, making sure that that piston is backing all the way out so it's not holding any pressure. And I did double check that. I did make a video about this axle and rear brakes and where I got it, even when I paid for it. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link to that right here. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to take apart these brakes. I'm going to, one, make sure that the brake cylinder is lubed and retracting a little bit. Two, I'm going to make sure that the slider pins are lubricated as well. I don't have any experience with SN95 brakes, let alone taking apart brakes anyway, so it's going to be an adventure. So you're probably noticing that I'm using some snips like this to try and pierce those dust covers on the pins, and that's because I'm noticing that when I push those pins in, there's a suction created and those pins aren't coming back out. Now I know that those boots are not supposed to have any holes in them because they keep dirt, gook, and water out, but I'm trying to eliminate some variables here. So one problem I found during the disassembly is this brake cylinder dust boot cover was not seated properly. I don't know if that would have been the problem, that the brake wasn't releasing off of the rotor, but I don't know, kind of seems unlikely. But I did figure out that in order to get that dust boot seated properly, I have to fully remove that cylinder, seat the boot, and then push the cylinder back in and then screw it back in. Now, go pump up these brakes. See what happened. So I get both of these brake calipers totally taken apart. I lubed them all back up. Put them all back together, started to bleed the brakes, and then this happens. What? So this leak is coming from the parking brake cylinder that rotates when the parking brake is put on. And once again, the parking brake is not even installed on this on the car yet. I contacted the seller, MPS Auto Salvage, on eBay. I even sent them a little video link to a little video of the leak and where it's coming from. They said send it back and they'd send me a new one, and they did. And here it is. I haven't even unpackaged it yet. But not trusting the other brake calipers, not going to do the same thing, I just bought new brakes. So I was noticing when I was assembling these new brakes that the brake pads are a different width. The ones that I bought from MPS Auto Salvage are slightly thinner, and then when I initially tried to install these thicker brake pads that came with these new brakes, they wouldn't go on. They're too thick. So I'm now going to use the new brakes with the old, slightly thinner brake pads. So during disassembly, I noticed that there were these two washers on just one side, and they're obviously there to try and center up that brake pads on the rotor. But I'm noticing that these are probably just a little too thick. So I am gonna, when I reinstall, I'm gonna replace them with these slightly thinner washers just to make sure that things are lined up. Could this have been the problem on why my axle wasn't rotating? Maybe, I don't know, but we'll see. We're done, dude.
Good.
Woo!
Good.
All right. We are done. If anybody knows what this problem could have been or heard of this, please let me know in the comments below. I know this is not the last time I'm going to deal with these specific brakes, but I also know that I'll be dealing with other brakes in the future on a future project. Thanks for watching.